California has long been a popular destination for Chinese tourists with world-class attractions and direct flights. But when China locked down for COVID, outbound tourism plummeted and has yet to fully recover, hitting the U.S. state hard. Now, California is hoping to bring those Chinese tourists back. Ira Spitzer has a story.
Chinese visitors are a welcome sight these days across California, from San Francisco to Los Angeles after a tough few years. Even as Beijing lifted COVID restrictions, LA's Chinese visitor numbers last year were at just 40% of the approximately 1 million who came in 2019. But the ones who did make it to California still spent more than $2 billion in the state.
When you see only 400,000 coming in, but they happen to be spending more than another country that has 600,000 people coming in, you can tell that their spending power has still been quite good.
Still, it's been difficult for many businesses that rely on Chinese tourists. The pandemic slowdown prompted Citadel Outlets, which has an office in China, to ramp up its efforts to reach Chinese customers directly on social media.
That's how we're really able to get to the customer, because we're getting that Chinese customer endorsement by somebody that they trust. And that's been very, very good for us.
She says there's been a noticeable uptick so far this year, raising hopes of a full recovery.
Well, Chinese visitors remain a visible presence here at popular destinations like this. It's likely to take a while to return to pre-pandemic levels nationally. The U.S. National Travel and Tourism Office predicts that won't happen until 2026.
Experts say economic uncertainty for Chinese tourists, coupled with a focus in Beijing on domestic travel, are among the factors slowing things down.
So there's been a heavy push to have travel be far more domestic, with lots of media and pushes from state agencies and those things to encourage domestic tourism rather than international long haul.
The lack of flights between China and the U.S. is another issue. In San Francisco, there are currently around 25 per week, just half of pre-pandemic levels. That was a major talking point on the city's mayor, London Breed's recent trip to China.
I'm here in Beijing, China, and guess what, San Franciscans?
Which included meetings with Chinese airlines and a plan to bring pandas to the San Francisco Zoo.
We think that with increased flights, with business opportunities, with pandas and all that we're talking about, the economic opportunities for San Francisco can be significant. And just to put it into perspective, we are not at pre-pandemic levels for flights coming in from China, but already last year we saw over $633 million in economic impact to the city just from tourists who came from China to our city.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom paid a visit to China last year as well. For the Golden State, the return of Chinese visitors could be a golden opportunity. Ira Spitzer, CNA, San Francisco.
And for more analysis, let's bring in Sam Huang, Professor of Tourism and Services Marketing from Edith Cowan University. Well, thanks, Prof, for joining us this evening. First up, help us understand this. I mean, how do you think the pandemic has changed the way Chinese tourists behave and also what they prefer when they're traveling to places like the U.S.?
I think the pandemic has changed people's behavior in China, and then the current economy may also be a reason for people to consider when they want to go out overseas to have a travel. I believe that the travel market needs some time to recover, especially towards the outbound destinations. But for domestic travel, things could be very different.
Can you elaborate a little bit more? Domestic travel, how different can it be?
I think I can speculate for a few reasons for the domestic travel. First of all, there is a curbed demand. We can call it compensation travel or compensation consumption. After a few years of restricted lockdown, and then people may feel the urge to travel. ideally, domestic travel would be much more easier to realize. That's one reason for people to travel domestically. The other reason is the domestic economy. I think China's economy is slowing down, and then the previous middle class may face less disposable income to spend on travel, especially long-term travel, long-haul travel. That's why people may choose short-haul destinations within the country to spend their money.
Yeah, so this increase in domestic tourism, to a certain extent, it's because there is this demand to visit these less known destinations. And obviously, China is a massive place. You know, there are so many hidden gems within the country. Is that what you're noticing in terms of the preference and the values of the Chinese travelers?
I think we need to look at China's tourism development in a historical perspective. From a historical perspective, I think the mass market may have evolved into a new era where we see a generation shift in terms of travelers market in China. I think the new young people travel market may emerge, and they may be more exploratory, adventurous. If we look at China's tourism development, some of the mature travel destinations may face the stage of declining. If we follow some theories in the field of tourism, we can see the destination life cycle theory predicts that a destination will go from emerging stage, attracting more people, and eventually, if the destination does not really rejuvenate itself for new products, it will face the declining fate. And the other part is the travelers market. We can see the travelers market may be getting more mature. People in China are more experienced in traveling. For those middle-class experienced travelers, they would like to go to explore something new or something novel. They may not be interested in some mature market, mass tourist market. This may represent the trend for the market.
Professor Huang, you were talking about this generational shift, among the travelers, and I'm wondering, does that also, when it comes to the generational shift, you're talking about the rise in budget-conscious Chinese travelers who are perhaps making trips to Hong Kong, and how is this also affecting the local tourism scene?
I think certainly there's a generational shift. Young people may choose some very unique form of travel or tourism. We can refer to Chinese media to see there's a special, there's in Chinese called special force, kind of a military style travel. People try to travel in a very short period of time, and they include very intensive travel activities. It's just like a special force military activity. That's very popular in China. And also for young people, they have this companionship travel. They form a small group for people to travel based on some online means. And then after traveling together, they just go departing from each other. I think these forms of travel may represent the new, the changing trends of Chinese domestic tourism. The other factor I'd like to note is the internet-based technology, especially live streaming, and then now people may travel to a very novel place. Not really well known, but the place can get popular in a short period of time because of the new technology, either by the online transformation or transmission of the message, or by people's user-generated content spreading. This technology can help a place not really well known to become very well known.
So in other words, Yeah, in other words, Professor, you're saying that to a certain extent, social media influencers and how they market a place, for instance, that might possibly overtake or replace direct marketing efforts like those we saw earlier in the story by Citadel outlets in terms of, trying to promote new places.
Yes, exactly. And social media, not only social media, we now face this new technology of live streaming. People can travel to a place, they can, in real time, they can show the place with video recording. And then this can be broadcast on social media like WeChat or TikTok or Douyin in China. And these types of new media can help a destination become really popular in a short time. I think this is something we need to take note.
Right, we're certainly taking note of what you've been saying. Thanks so very much for your time and thoughts. Sam Huang, Professor of Tourism and Services Marketing from Edith Cowan University.